Todd and Dave are missing, but that's a quorum, so we can start the meeting. So I'll call the meeting to order. We have one guest, Mike Stoll here, and we'll start with the minutes at the Rec Center. Were there comments on the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to accept the minutes as submitted, as sent out. Second by someone?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are accepted unanimously. Treasurer's report, Susan?
Since there's no news, I bet you could recite them yourselves, but Hubbardson Trust, $13,056.90. Ryder, $4,125.32, and the donation expense account, $348.34, but no activity, until we get some hay money in the fall. Then I can go up.
I saw him taking over.
If you got any.
That would help as part of the process.
When I was up at Mount Jeff, I saw him driving down the road to, he went down Malone Road. I don't know whether he was going to Malone or.
He did Piala's field.
He did, oh, good, okay.
Cause he's got 3 good days, no rain, right?
Yeah.
I do know from talking to our own hay guy and other ones, that they have had a little trouble. They had one window quite early.
Yeah, if you didn't cut in early June, then.
Yeah, yeah, you had that one time in early June, and the guy that does our hay, he got quite a few bales in then, but he had a lot of field, so he didn't get nearly all his crop in. And so, now they're in a little bit.
When I
of
picked it
trouble.
up last week, he said he only got 54 bales. That
Oh,
was as
man,
of last
then-
week, yeah. So, he was, and he was looking at the weather going forward and saw it was gonna rain through 4th of July and was
Yeah.
trying to figure out. Anyway,
All right, let's see, update on the Hubbardson hikers, and I'll lead this comment. So we had, that first session, I don't know, we didn't discuss this much at the last meeting. I don't know if we had, did we have that hike before the meeting or not?
yes.
No.
Yes.
But at any rate, that hike was really good. The information that Tim supplied, supplemented by a lot of the information that Mike also had, was just great. And I'm not gonna give up on it. I think there's some significant potential. So I sent a note to Claudia, who's got a group that could support it nicely. I know the North Quabbin Trails group, there's a lot of the people in the elderly category that go to those hikes. And Claudia didn't know about it, so the information I sent her, she was excited about it. So we're gonna take my suggestion to Tim, and Rick was part of this, was to take a little different approach and get some feedback first. Instead of just send stuff out and hope people arrive, get a little bit of feedback first. So we're gonna do something with Claudia as a minimum. She's gonna put something in their newsletter, as well as have some information available in the senior center here. But get some feedback about people that are interested. And, we're not looking for 40 people, but like the North Quabbin group, they typically had 10 to 15 people come in their hikes or something, because we went on a few of those. So, I don't know.
Be nice
Want to
to
add
do 'em
anything
with
else to that,
some,
Tim?
maybe.
But it was
On
it was
Tuesdays?
really good.
Do they still do Tuesdays, the Quabbin group?
What?
Do they still hike on Tuesdays? That was-
My guess is probably, I don't
Yeah.
know, I haven't had much affiliation
one
with Bob
together, that'd
Curley
be
in
kinda
quite a
fun.
while.
Okay.
Yeah, nor have we.
So Tim's we're gonna put something together along the lines, what Claudia suggested for this group was something that would essentially be a one-page handout type of thing that could just get dumped right into the newsletter, but then also something that somebody could take, have a copy, have a few copies over at the senior center for people that wanted more detail. And then have some contact numbers to get, if you're interested, have a few contact numbers, so we get some feedback. But,
There's a flyer.
yeah.
Just change the words and.
Yeah.
And there's
Okay,
a
so
brochure,
actually-
just
there's
change
actually
the
the kids.
pictures.
Okay, so that's the format that we'd like to have
Right.
then, yeah.
Well,
'Cause we
that's-
also
that's
did
the plan.
we did a trifold pamphlet too, and,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Voila.
the A, the regular A size would be great,
You mean
that
like
type of
this?
Talk
format.
about.
Are these extras?
Yes. I said either it's an easy find or it will be forever. It happened to be an easy find.
Any input from the Youngs on any more stuff, but Destiny was the only one.
Destiny. Okay, the garden group is getting this tour together. It's really coming together. It's exciting. But Destiny is
Can I
the
have a
garden
time
tour
out?
for summer next year.
Can I have a time?
He has no
What
idea
is
what
this,
you're
what
talking
is the thing called the garden group?
Oh, the garden tour of the Historical Society. We're working on a garden tour for next summer and gathering gardens, people who are willing to participate.
Oh, that's a subset of the historical society?
Yeah, it is
It's a
now,
fundraiser.
because it was defunct. People died.
Not because of the tour.
No, I don't think we've ever done one before.
But they had a place to plant them.
Anyway.
We have a good committee here.
So, Destiny's Garden, because I contacted her when this idea arose. I said, would you like to be on it? And she said yes. And she did plant some things last fall, but the ladies are very, they're hard workers. And so Liz Esterbrook calls me walking along down Parsons Road, I can't find it. And I'm thinking, well, you probably can't find it because the markers are down. You know, I talked about it's a loop and so forth, because we want it on the tour, but it sounds like Destiny hasn't visited at least lately. So maybe, and I'm sure the loop needs some work.
Yeah,
How do people feel about that? I mean,
helping with it, yeah.
Yeah,
And
just-
this is a year from now.
yes, it's a
Yeah.
year from now, and even that, we understand is being cutting it close.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen, it's gonna be good, so does anybody wanna volunteer to do that? This is your project.
To clear the loop?
Well, it would take all of 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
just
I
have
mean,
a
that's
couple
what I
of
Well, I'm gonna,
days.
I'm gonna take a walk down it and see what kind of shape it's in next week. Unless
And
have you
maybe-
been there recently?
No, I haven't.
And put up a
But you,
few
Mike.
markers.
I'm sorry. Have you been, what do we, how would you describe that to Mike?
Parsons Road.
Parsons
to
Road
the
with
left, and then
the,
the loop for Destiny's Garden.
Probably
I don't know
doesn't
if you
even
were
know
Down,
involved.
down towards the old Hobbit House, hunting lodge on the other side of that
Anybody
fishing
been
game.
there?
Oh, Taylor's Camp?
Yeah,
Oh, is that it?
down,
Is that
down
it?
that, down that way.
Yeah. I mean, I've been down there, but,
Not
This-
recently.
I mean, within the last year, 3 or 4 times. So, I'm not sure,
I'm just wondering how overgrown it's gotten.
the trail down?
Yeah.
Not a problem. Not any problem at all. There's enough, appears to have been enough activity, up and down there. I mean, it's still.
Fishing game mows it once a year.
Okay.
Once a year?
The open's back, not towards the camp, but back up
Yeah,
towards
back
town.
on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fields.
Yeah, they do. I walked that. I mean,
Do
I've
we-
hunted it.
Do we have measurements, how far down it is? Did anybody, I think we talked about it, and then how far the loop actually is? Because these ladies want all the details. Like I said, she called me up and said, I'm here, can I, I said, oh, I
It
think.
must be in the range of.
I've got them on a map somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
That's what I
probably
figured.
20 minutes down to Taylor's Camp, and I'm.
Well, Destiny's Garden is way before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's like 20 minutes or something, right? It wasn't a long walk to get in there.
Yeah, so if a couple people started at one end of the loop and a couple people started at the other loop and me in the middle, I think she would appreciate just a little catalyst right now to help sort of.
So the
Okay.
implementation is gonna be a year from now, is that what I heard?
Well, I
The
think
tour is
she's,
gonna
For
be
the,
here.
she's talking about the
tour.
garden tour, not Destiny's work.
Oh.
The garden.
Destiny hopefully will have it together for the fall, I'm hoping.
Okay.
And see how it weathers, depending on the objects she puts in
Yeah.
there. and whatever.
So right now, you're trying to get a group together to clear the trail.
If
Thank
necessary,
you.
if it's
I needed an
necessary.
interpreter, but yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Okay, and
Okay.
if you're gonna go
Because the-
check it out, just let us know and I would
the-
like to help
The
clear.
ladies said, oh, let's do it tomorrow, and I said, no, let's go to open space first.
As you
Yeah.
walk down that old woods road, there's a 5-acre piece, town-owned parcel on your left.
Really? Oh, is it where the big tree is? There's a big, some kind of conifer that's not real common. I mean, it's not rare, but it's just, there are not a lot of them
It's-
around there.
it's-
a big
It's
conifer.
immediately, you know where the Fish and Game boundary line is, where you see the yellow signs?
No.
Anyway, it's,
Right after
I
that,
can't see
pretty
those
much?
signs.
Right after.
I'm blind to those. Okay, but I know what you're talking, but we're talking two different issues. Destiny's thing
Mhm.
and the garden tour.
Right,
Is-
They happen to be in the same area,
but not at the same time.
And not at the same time and not specific, okay, thank you.
slightly different dimension.
So,
No, that was the answer to where is Destiny with things. Susan talked to her, and
At the
she's
fair.
working on it,
Yeah.
and plans to have it this summer, fall,
Okay.
done.
Yeah, and if we go and help clear the trail, that might
Mhm.
help.
would
get
that be
things
good to
moving.
set a date for that? Because I don't wanna have to do it just with the two ladies, it would take us forever.
To do
Oh,
what?
to clear the trail.
Let's,
Yeah, no,
See
I
what's
like
there.
Rick's idea, take a look, just scope out what needs to be done.
What
I
needs
mean,
to be done.
If it's just one person, I mean, we don't need 3 or
Okay.
4, but if we need 3 or 4 people.
Alrighty.
yeah.
I mean,
You
you know,
can't
short
take
of
one.
any windfalls that might have come down across it.
It wasn't
I would
that
think it's
much.
pretty clear.
But are the markers, what color were the markers? I mean, they were tapes. They
I
were
don't think
taped.
I've seen it since,
since we were there, yeah.
Destiny painted trees,
Oh, she
Oh,
did?
she did, yeah.
was my understanding.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
At
Okay.
any rate, so the thing is, Rick and or Susan are gonna go scope it out, and then you can just get feedback to us, what needs to be done, and we'll solve the problem then.
Yeah, short of a blowdown, I can't imagine it's more than a lopper or two.
Yeah.
Job.
A lot of it's pine.
Wasn't a big job to begin with.
No,
Land Priority Subcommittee, we sent that out to folks. So we merged Tim's comments and my comments, so it's all got the same format. And incorporated all the updates into one document. I don't know if anybody's got any comments or had an opportunity to look at that yet.
thought it looked great.
The
Very thorough.
Our next step, the next steps from my perspective, we can talk about that. If we repeat the scoring on the top 10, that'd just sort of give a litmus test to the correlation between just what it was, the scoring was before. I don't think it'd be radically different, but I think it probably would be a little bit different. So repeat that scoring on those, but then get into some significant use of it. And so the idea of this is to identify properties that are worthy of pursuing relative to acquisition towards conservation. And we have a guest.
No.
Um,
I don't know what that was.
The guest might have been, by the way, I'll just interrupt. Dave Marsh thought he might be able to, he's away,
Oh,
but
that's
he
right.
thought he might be able to attend by Zoom.
Ah.
So Mark has made that possible, but apparently Dave hasn't been able to log in. I thought that might have been him. Get into identifying these, and then what the next steps are relative to working with conservation land trusts, because the idea of this is to identify properties, but then do something with that information.
About street or road.
A valuable piece of information would be to take a map, and I was thinking about the one that Tim had out, because it identified those top 10, so we could update the key parcels. I think you identified them as A parcels or something on your map. But then, when Tim, Rick, and I have gotten together, part of the info was, well, potential trail interconnection, both intra town and inter town. So places where you can get out of, go over into Barry, the rail trail which can get you up into Phillipston and Templeton, and if you wanted to really go somewhere, it could actually get you up into Winchendon and Lake Dennison if you wanna follow that as far as it can go. The motorcycle people do that, though we've had horse people that have ridden all the way up that far, so, and I'm sure there's hikers and stuff that have gone up that far. So that'd be valuable information, just relative to, added value to parcels that would facilitate that type of interconnection. Probably I think the next step would be, I don't know, the same people interested in sticking with that, Tim, Rick and myself, anybody else wanna say anything on that? So we could get together, do that one litmus test thing on the top 10, just to get together and review that, and then as a group, identify what we think the next steps should be. That sound good?
Yeah, I
Alright.
think the next steps are start knocking off some of these properties that we've got the list of,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Then it gets down into the nitty-gritty part of how to do that. And that's where we might wanna get the land trust organizations involved. Any other comments on that? So I'll get in touch with you two guys and we'll arrange a date to get together.
Well,
Mike?
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road, just to continue with these trails that maybe we can connect to. Don't forget the Mid-State Trail, of course, that's out by where I am, and that gives great access to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that stuff now, and just relative to Mass Mapper, Mass Mapper's not perfect, if I'm correct, because I was looking for the Mid-State, because I know the walk that Mark led us on, and we did a loop and ended up over in Princeton, but then just got onto the Mid-State, and I'm looking on Mass Mapper for the Mid-State Trail, and it's nowhere near there on.
Oh, yeah, they've
And then I
they've still
remember
got the
somebody
wrong
said,
route.
somebody said the Mid-State got rerouted.
Yeah, it did.
And it must have got rerouted by a substantial amount.
Yeah.
It gets
Good.
rerouted continuously, because I've been following it for the last 15 years and have done it all. And it gets, I did it in sections though,
Yeah.
this month I
Yeah.
did one
Mm.
section and so on and so forth. And it kept moving. You had to keep checking on what the route was. And actually the Hubbardston section moved, so it's down there by the, where Natty Brook comes into Barry Falls. There's
The
a
Hubbardston
fall-
section at
in Barry Falls,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And rather than going up one way, went up another way, and I was there at dusk, and at night, I realized, oh, this is the old trail. It didn't have the plastic markers, it had the old paint markers, and I realized from other places, oh, that's old trail.
Yeah.
And then, very close to Hubbardston, off of Gates Road, which is the
Mhm.
continuation of Lombard Road, it didn't used to go through Audubon at the same place. Now it takes Goodnoe Road. They allowed it on
Goodnoe,
Goodnoe
yeah.
Road. And so it's changed really close to Hubbardston and that Princeton, kind of Rutland leg there. Yeah.
I can send you a link for an online map of where it really is
What-
these
what-
days.
what- I mean,
Could you
you two
send that
guys,
to
are-
everybody,
you two
please?
guys are big in the map world. Is Mass Mapper the best tool for that? I mean, obviously, that seems like
Yeah,
it's something
that's
that,
generally a very good tool.
yeah. They obviously they have to do updates at times, like something like this. Well, there's one other thing. I was trying to find contours, and I found it a little bit lacking on trying to find some decent contours on
They're
there.
there.
Yeah.
They're not entirely intuitive where to find them, but
Okay. I'll look a little more.
10-foot contour.
So it's not
lines.
part of the layers then?
Yeah, it's
Well, one is part of the
layers.
layer. I found
Yeah.
one in there, and I didn't find it as good as other contour maps.
You can, as the background, there's a default base map which is just roads and
Yeah.
town boundaries and shows different colors for open space. Then you're gonna have the 2021 aerial photo background or
yep.
2019.
Yeah,
Next one below that is the USGS topo map background.
yeah, but that to me obliterates a lot of the other information that's on there, but,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, there are other, again, relative to contour maps, I found other contour maps that are more readable than that one, but, all right, so that sounds good, so we're making some progress, and we wanna continue to make good progress with this thing, cause there's some great properties out there, and it would be unfortunate if we missed our opportunity. Any update from the ad hoc, is that done, so you did your job?
Yep,
Oh, relative to the
just
not
waiting for
not poll, but
the survey, yeah.
the survey, sort of a
So
poll.
I'm thinking run it for another week and I'll see how many more have added, but it was started to slow down. First 4 or 5 days were most of the ones from the, what was it, 169
Yeah,
or something like that.
you really don't get anything more after about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I just figured with the 4th of July, people weren't paying attention. Is it worth bumping that notice up, you know, get it while you can?
I would just call it good.
Yeah, okay.
Leave it up for another day.
Well, it's no longer on the front page of the news,
Okay.
Hubbardston News, so, you know, if people would have to
Yeah, you
Dig
just
to
scroll
find
dig
it.
to find it, to find the notice.
I still have my little slip that was handed out at the town hall town
Oh, I'm
meeting.
not gonna take the survey down, but
Okay.
just the, I was asking Mark about
Yeah.
putting a notice up. You only have 5 days left
Yeah.
to do this kind of
Because
thing.
somebody tried several times and I have been unsuccessful. Just
Really?
because I haven't, only because of my internet connectivity and other priorities.
There's hard copies in the town clerk's office,
Oh, I
And
just
then where do
there
you,
today.
where do you bring them?
to the town clerk.
But it'd be much
So she has
easier
some?
if I did it
She
online.
didn't have some last
Yeah,
week.
that's quick.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's 5 minutes,
online's
takes
better.
5 minutes,
Yeah.
or if you really wanna think about it,
So
6.
what do you get for a response, 169, is that what you said?
Yeah, something like that last, and
That's
that was,
pretty good.
that was a week ago.
Is that, anybody got any idea? I forget what, these, the
Katie
town, I
thought
forget
Katie thought a couple hundred was good.
would be max.
And some of the ones she's done.
That is good.
Okay.
So, I mean, how
Um,
many households are there in town?
1,600
18.
or 1,800.
Yeah, so,
1,700.
So that's about 10%.
yeah, so
That's what I
that's,
like
I
about
mean, I'd
this
say
group.
that's probably pretty good. My, just
Both numbers are
eyeballing,
right.
just eyeballing the responses, kinda just, arbitrary, just reading some of them. I mean, it won't be a hard sell to tell whoever needs to know that Hubbardston's really gung-ho on open space.
Good.
The main thing for the survey, obviously, is play the game, you know, make sure that we've done
Yep.
our due diligence and DCR is happy. But it's also to give us input for writing the thing, which is the next step, so.
Good. OSP update? So, what's the next steps in the process here then?
Writing up those sections. There's a couple sections that we still need to review as a group on the beginning sections. Actually, I'll circle back with you, Rick, sometime in the next couple weeks, because there was a couple sections that were sort of, we need to think about in context to the new survey.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
6 through 9, right?
Oh, well, yeah, those obviously, but even in the earlier sections.
Oh, really?
There
Okay.
were some
My-
issues
Yeah.
we pointed.
If you got, sections that you wanted, the group, to focus on or something, or?
Yeah, it's all in, I mean, it's all up on the website, and the outstanding areas are in red text at the moment.
Okay.
The
So
key
the-
thing will be after we get the survey results, then we start looking at the last couple sections, right?
Right.
But there's reference to other things earlier in the thing, cause I haven't read
Yeah,
the sections.
It's not terribly significant.
The section that I worked on, it referenced the previous survey, so it would be good to be able to reference the new survey.
Yeah, okay, got it.
I had down, so that's it on the open space? I had down here the flag, Malone, I haven't done anything, that's not a top priority at the moment, so I'll just leave that. It'd be good to flag that, a potential trail for on the other side of,
Is that what this map was?
oh, in the agenda. I happened to use that, cause that was open in Word, and I found, Mark's, file that, and I wanted a place to print it, so I copied and pasted into a Word document and made a copy of it. So that was only there to make a copy of it.
Oh, okay.
I forget why I couldn't make a copy out of what Mark had supplied directly or something.
Yeah, this is actually the track from Emily when she did the last monitoring visit
Ah,
with a couple
okay.
of us.
I was wondering because that's the north side of the
I mean,
property.
it must have come from the monitoring report that she sent you.
Oh, maybe
Ah.
that was it.
So I wonder what, the numbers, do they refer to something in her report?
She took a waypoint at that point, probably generally a photo
Ah, okay.
would be at that point,
Yeah.
or some description of something significant.
'Cause that might be the trail.
There you go.
All we have to do is follow it.
So seven is the Porcupine Dens. No,
Oh, I came across
no,
that.
seven is Dottie Rock, 6 is the Porcupine Dens.
Oh, yeah. That's why you came back.
All
Yeah,
right.
on a cool day.
All right. Any other new business? I didn't have any new business.
Yeah, I do have a piece of new business. Just make sure that, no, Dave never showed up. Okay, so I think I've mentioned a couple times that I've been exploring tentatively with various state agencies on purchase of a couple of the parcels around town. The unknown land that we walked down by the,
Off Lombard?
yeah,
Yeah.
that one, the one that we walked down at the end of the peninsula going into Natty Brook.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. Down past Destiny's Garden area there.
Yeah. So there's interest from the state on that. There's various steps that need to be taken to get the process going. What I have found recently is that being an employee of the state now and of the town, I cannot act as liaison on this because of conflict of interest. And actually, I've always been employed by the state, I just didn't realize it. As an independent contractor, you know, I work contracts for the state, have been working contracts for the state for 5 years. But with regard to the conflict of interest rules, at any rate, that's the same as being on their payroll.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm fishing around to see if anybody has a degree of interest in this to take charge and act as the project manager on this.
Okay, so what needs to happen as a result of this? You interface with some different groups and see who's gonna be of interest and then follow the purchasing process through, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I mean, I would put you in touch with the appropriate people at the state. It's acting as a project manager to line up a survey of the property off Lombard.
And
Working with the town administrator and the select board to get.
Something like that survey, obviously that would need funds to doing the survey, so.
We've got those funds in place.
Oh, there are.
We've got a quote for doing the survey.
Who's we?
Where the
You
funds
just
come
need to
from.
take your name off it, basically.
The town has it?
The town, not this past town meeting, but the town meeting before that, town meeting authorized $5,000 to start this
Really?
process.
No, I don't remember that at all. How'd you slip that into the?
On my ways.
Omnibus bill. So it's there to be used for the survey,
Yeah, well,
a survey, two
we-
surveys.
It's, there's a survey, and then there's we need to do some title search work.
Ah.
And we probably don't have enough money for both at the moment, but.
I wonder if CPC could do some of that. Because in the past, a lot of
Yeah, I mean, I
CPC
think-
money has been for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think,
Cause we as a committee don't really have
yeah,
to, thing, or do we?
No.
Would that be Hubbardston Preservation?
Yeah, for a relatively small.
but where
ones.
we're headed with it,
Yep,
I mean, the first one on the docket would be the parcel there going out into Natty Brook, cause that's the easiest one. We have clear title, we have a survey. All we need to do is, the select board has, I forget whether they indicated interest in order to get the warrant article on. So they just need to be reminded of where we're at. And that can be driven through, but there's not a lot of gain there for the town. I mean, it's not much land involved. It's probably $5,000 or something. But the two parcels over by the Ware River are more substantial. I mean, that's 40 acres or something.
20 acres total.
Yeah. So there'll be some money involved there, and I hadn't gotten to the point of negotiating with the select board yet, but, I mean, they're gonna wanna claim a lot or most of that money. But if somebody from this committee is acting as project manager to actually pull this off, it's a way to replenish. You know, we might be able to pick up 10, 15 grand to replenish some of our funds.
That would be nice.
Don't everybody volunteer once?
Did you ever find out that
No
nobody
man's
knows
land?
who owns it? Parcel,
Didn't you say?
Yeah, we still don't know. That's the one that needs to be surveyed and go through a
And the
tax
title
taking,
search.
and go through a tax taking process.
yeah.
Did the name Marine come up in that one? M-A-R-E-A-N? You mentioned it, okay.
So I don't think Nate has enough interest in it or enough,
Say that again, Mike?
I don't think the town administrator has enough interest in this to
Oh,
drive it
to
forward.
drive it. So it has to be somebody from our group.
I mean, it's some money for the town, but it's not a hell of a lot in the big picture.
What kind of time commitment do you think this would take?
It's something that you would work on, you'd probably every couple, 2 or 3 months, you'd reach a point where you needed to coordinate something else.
So it's only an activity
So
every.
it's not really a it's not a continual process.
yeah.
It's more, there are
So,
milestones to
a few
to hit
days,
every now and then.
a few days of work every 2 or 3 months, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Something like that? Anybody else?
I could probably help with
Is that, you can do that?
that. Yeah, probably can.
All right, that'd be great.
I can circle back with you
I can,
and give you.
I'll
go through the
I'll volunteer to
details.
work with you on it, Tim, if you need some additional help on it, if there's things that I can do. So, you put down, Tim and Bob's name for that, or into the minutes there, and then obviously we'll have to get some sort of a pass off relative to where you're at,
Right.
the contacts,
Yeah.
what the next steps are, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So maybe the three of us could have a little side meeting at some point in time, and you can set that up, or work with Tim to set that up, and I'll come to it too.
And actually, I'll meet with Nathan to make sure that he's aware that there's gonna be a passing of the torch here, and remind him that it exists out there.
The parcels in Lombard, the one over off Natty Brook, I mean, what are the biggest advantage that have, maybe as it relates to open space, is just a vista or something, if I recall? Would that have some value in that regard?
Yeah.
Or let me rephrase it.
It's okay view.
What value did that really have to us, other than possibly a little tiny bit of money? And it's open space. I mean, I can't say, obviously trails aren't gonna go through it.
Oh, no.
And usability as an open space parcel, is anybody from the public ever gonna get out to it, or
No.
probably not?
No, because it's landlocked. Yeah, I mean, you gotta cross private land to get to it.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it's not too much use for the town for anything else either.
No.
You couldn't put a new public safety building.
Or a tower?
Or a tower.
No, it really has no, it has very little benefit for the town, even as open space.
yeah. The,
Other than,
the parcels over in Lombard, relative to the trails that are now over there, do they go through those two parcels? I forget the exact locations of those. Or could they go through those?
Pinecrest property owners' trails go through the parcel on the west side of the river. On the east side of the river is my dream location for the potential trail where we walked,
Oh, okay. So when we took our walk, did we go through there? Okay.
Into one of them.
right through that whole section with
Is that the
rock
one
walking
where
on the
you
Eskers.
wanted to do a trade? You wanted to do a trade with DCR if they, or with Fish and Game?
Yeah, I was thinking of trying to apply some kind of, if they were interested in it, applying leverage to say, come on, prove a trail through here. Yeah, that's what I was
We'll
talking
give you
about
this if you
at the
let us
time.
put a trail
But it
through.
might be simpler to, I mean, both DCR Parks and DCR Water Supply are potentially interested, particularly in that parcel, because they thought they were buying it originally with,
The Fieldstone Farm?
Fieldstone Farm.
Yep.
And that was when it came up to light, as they were working on that transaction, that, oh, this isn't owned by Fieldstone Farm. As a matter of fact, we don't know who it's owned by.
The parcel on the other side, you said the trails from Pinecrest go through there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Pinecrest own that land?
No.
Who owns it?
Nobody.
The town claims to own it. I haven't found any evidence of that, but.
Could be
So if-
messy, is what
if,
you're saying, kinda.
Does Town Crest open their trails up to the town?
Pinecrest.
Pinecrest, rather. So if we acquire that.
However, that's another kind of a leverage situation.
Yeah, yeah. You got trails over here, by the way, that we're gonna put gates on. Unless you take your gates off over here, you're not gonna, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like a good activity.
Mike Stahl again,
Yep,
5
Mike.
Lombard Road. Regarding the Pinecrest trails, and not the ones that are on their property, I guess they may not publish that the trails are open, but they don't restrict you from going on them. And all along the East Branch, it's 180 acres or something that Pinecrest owns. Actually abuts my family's property at its far north end. they've got it in chapter 61B. And although because they're an association, they could post it, they haven't indicated that, and so it's open, it's not posted. So I can wander, and I've asked them about this. So I don't know if that's an official thing from them, but Bill Homans is still the president of the Pinecrest Homeowners Association, or property owners, and their trail is open. It's maybe not advertised, and it is in chapter 61B,
And 61B is recreation, right?
recreation and open space. And you can post property in 61B, but if it's in 61B recreation, you have to have like an association to post it. If you're in the open space half of 61B, and I've read this a number of times, I almost have it memorized, you can post your property and not give access and still claim and be approved for the tax reduction.
But it has to be posted, otherwise anybody can go on it.
Yeah, if it's not posted, like any property,
Yeah.
I think in Massachusetts, it's not posted, that means tacit approval for access. But as soon as you post it, there's the legal thing about, then you become liable. If you leave it unposted, and I forget what the law is that covers that, but you've got some like plausible deniability. Hey, you went in there. It's all on you. Which seems odd.
Opposite, yeah.
It seems odd, but trust
sense.
me, it's been pointed out to me
Yeah.
by several folks. And I think in the game laws, it even addresses that from a hunting perspective. Because that's where most people are gonna be accessing people's property. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else, Mark?
Nope,
Just-
nope, so I'll follow up with both of you. And this is the first one can happen fairly directly. The ones over by
Natty Brook.
Ware River are more of a long-term project, because
Yeah.
the tax taking takes
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Susan, next meeting?
August 30.
August 30th?
It's a Wednesday, it's the
Okay.
last Wednesday.
She was
in
ready.
August. Mike has something else
Final
to
public
say.
comment.
Yeah, public comment, that part. Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road again. Tim had contacted me about the Hubbardston hikers, and I'm willing to lead a hike. And when you talk about kind of directing it towards the senior center, there's a good place, Natty Brook Wildlife Management Area, between Calico and Cream and the Rod and Gun Club. There's a gate there off of
Yeah.
Williamsville Road. There's not a lot of parking, but that's where some of our sundews are located, 2 species, the spatula leafed and rotundifolia, the round leaf, and they're out. I just took somebody there a week ago. There's also
What are
some
they?
sundews, spatula leafed and
Flowers.
round leaf.
What do you mean by
Digest
sundew?
insects.
Okay.
When the meeting's done, we won't go into it.
Okay.
I'll show you. I got photos there. And,
That's a nice walk back through there.
yeah, and when you mention the senior center and advertising it via that, the good thing about that, it's not long to me, but, if you're really talking elderly people, it would be long, but I walk it in 10 minutes, and the good thing is that there's an established gravelly trail, little poison ivy up front, but once you get by that, you're okay. You can stay out of the ticks, and it's almost dead flat. If it varies more than 5 foot in elevation, probably it's more like 2 or 3 feet. So it's flat. And the good thing is, you can see two,
Actually, part of it's paved.
part of it is paved, yeah,
How did
short,
that happen?
short second, because it used to be, I don't know what it used to be, but, I mean, there was a road that went back there to some operation.
Oh.
And so there's pretty much 3 or 4 significant things. There's the 2 species of sundews, which are easily found. They're small, but they will be blooming soon. Right now in bloom is the rose Pagonia, which is an orchid,
Those are
one of
fun.
our protected Massachusetts orchid. And the other thing, there are cranberries back there. So they can see, you know, those things that you're not normally gonna see unless you go into
Yeah.
very wet areas, or maybe have to, you know, walk over the eskers and the drumlins and stuff, but
Yeah.
this here is nice and flat. And there's other stuff back there, but,
So
Rose-
when is that gonna be then?
well, we'd have to schedule the next Hubbardston Hikers.
Well, as a
You just do
minimum,
one
probably,
with
you'd
us.
probably get, Bob, Steph, Susan and Rick on those. That was a great walk when, it was very informative with what you two guys offered, for information on all the different plants out there.
The
Just
other-
on that loop, it was like 50 different things out there.
The other thing is, I've already talked to the property owner on the other side, anticipating, because I was working on something with the library to do a carnivorous plant presentation, and then offer with it a walk. And then Tim brought up the Hubbardston Hikers, and I said, oh, this'll be easy, you know, I got more connections now. But I'd already talked to the property owner across the street, because I said, hey, you know, I just wanted to let you know that, you know, we may take some people out here, and, you know, parking along the road is fine, but I didn't want him to go, hey, what's going on out here? All of a sudden, people are
Yeah.
parking along my property. Bill Pickett, I think is his name, and he said, hey, thank you. So I would obviously invite him and notify him in advance, because I'm sure he'll probably forget. This was almost 2 months ago.
Can we
now.
park in his driveway?
Well, he's got a nice, that's the
What's
thing,
this
if
up
we
way down
play
West
nice,
Virginia?
and people may just do it, and what I don't want people to do is to do that and not have.
What's the-
Right, exactly. I mean, along the road, I don't know what the road right-of-way is there. What do we,
The
mark,
curve.
mostly 3
You know,
rods
the curve
wide,
you
49.5 foot? So call it 50 foot wide for a lot of our roads?
I would guess that Williamsville is probably 66.
Okay.
What about asking the McKays though, the Calico and Cream people?
Well, that's another,
They
I don't
probably
know
would
those
mind.
people.
In fact, she probably would be interested,
In
she's
the
up for
walk,
anything.
yeah, maybe she.
We know.
Elaine.
Yeah, 'cause it's parked there, right? Don't
Well,
you-
that
Yeah,
would
for ice
actually
cream
solve
place,
the
there's plenty
parking
of
issue,
parking.
because they've
Yeah,
got the
get
park.
everybody
We'll
off the
invite her to
road
come.
safely.
Right,
Yeah.
that was the point, is, you know, you can park 2 or 3 cars there safely now. You know, too
Yeah.
easy, but
That's- yeah.
if people didn't like carpool and stuff, all of a sudden everybody wants to take their own car, and you have a dozen cars, then that becomes
And
an
it's
issue
not a very
coming.
safe spot.
Well, that's the thing,
Right.
coming
Yeah.
Yeah.
down Mount Jeff, coming down Williamsville
that
with the
corner.
turn, and, you know, people not paying attention. If we have a safe place to park, I
Yep.
think that that's key. Once again, if they're gonna be, senior center is gonna be maybe how it's advertised through, you know, let's try and make it good for them. The other point for a potential walk area that I'm very familiar with now is what we used to call the Fieldstone Farm, but it's now Hidden Meadow. We, on the 13th of June, DCR came out and reviewed our proposed little access drive and parking area. It would be a pervious surface, not, you know, enough for 3 cars, but once again, get people off the road. And we also proposed 2 new trails. They have to approve them. We took her on the new trails and we made them sort of trail, when I say trail dense, rather than going back in the wetlands and where the moose walks around and whatnot, kept it to an area that would give us a connection trail to two new connection trails to existing
To existing
trails.
to get loops going. is
To
the-
get loops going, but we didn't get back in the back part of the property. At my suggestion, let's leave the moose alone, for now anyhow. And so we made loop trails to existing trails and not to anything that, oh yeah. So there's an existing field access road right where Mark's showing.
That's down.
Well, this is where the right-of-way is, where the existing one is.
Yeah, with the existing
is
parking.
Right here, actually. It's right, it's just north of where the little streamlet crosses,
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And anyhow, there was a heritage area, but the DCR rep, Sasha, says, and we avoided that. So we're probably going to adjust the trail, because we purposely just went along the edge of it. But she says that's not a critical area now for whatever species it was.
It was a turtle.
It was the Blandings turtle, yeah. So we may adjust that part of the trail.
Mhm.
But she was very satisfied with what we did, our rationale for it. And we worked with our planning committee chair,
Chris,
Chris
Christopher.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Chris Monroe, and we did, even laid out for one of the new trail loops, per his suggestions for mountain biking. So that, you know, cause I just laid out the concept route, and then he actually flagged it, so when the DC rep was here, she could actually see the detail, and she was surprised by, that we had all that laid out, and would relay it out if she wanted us to, but she didn't have any suggestions on that at all. So that was a positive thing. We've already had a couple contractors out to look at it, and we're obtaining quotes, and the East Quabbin Land Trust has received a grant to offset some of those costs. And then we're working on some, we'll put up the standard land trust kiosk and sign. There's already one across the street, abutting it on the west
Henry's
side of
Grove,
the road.
is that the sign across is Henry's Grove, or?
That's correct.
Right, and don't forget to put CPC on the, he's,
We've gotta do it, right?
Yes.
Because they contributed the funds, the city.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, we'll, keep reminding me of that.
Well, Cynthia's aware of it.
she's aware of it, but
Okay.
she's got so many things
Yeah,
going.
yes.
This in the air and that in the middle, and she's always, you
So,
know.
so
she's
that's,
so-
proceeding well. We're driving that, because we'd like to get another grant from them, this group. It's the North Central, God, I gotta remember their name, unfortunately, I forgot what it is. We had not gotten or applied for any grants from them previously, so we were pretty happy to get one the first time around. And then the last update issue is Henry's Grove, and Mark was out there in March with the big, just after the big blizzard there, and we have a lot of trail work to do. You can take the short way down to the river, and a lot of that's been cleared. But if you take the Henry's Grove loop, some big stuff's still down. I mean, you can, to me, I don't stay on the trail anyhow necessarily, so it doesn't bother me, but other people, you know, want the trail to be cleared. But we did take down the one Widowmaker that was up, but still a lot on the loop, the longer route down to the river. That's my updates.
Good,
A lot of
great.
good stuff going on.
Yeah, busy.
On that same note, as far as updates, I took a hack up to Mount Jeff today, and Canesto Brook Trail is now a brook.
Oh.
You know, it's like, so if you're hiking and you come down and wanna get over to, the, Well, no, you can get to Old Cross if you come down, it's,
Mill Pond?
Mill Pond Trail, you can't get there from there unless you've got waders on. So, I don't know what we wanna do with that.
Get that culvert fixed up again?
Yeah.
Well, the thought that I had on it was to extend, we have one sequence of the heavy wiring that goes out maybe 8 feet. Probably to expand that in a polygon type of pattern, so it's got angles and stuff. So there'd be 2 levels of protection for the culvert.
Was water going through the culvert?
Not
Last time I
through the
went down, it
culvert.
was going through.
No.
It wasn't flying through, but it was
No,
going
Well, I've
through.
been down there twice
They've
and
got
the-
the fencing totally.
Yeah, it was
So
the
like
fencing
water-
that was plugged up. And then water was going over, well, the day I saw it was going over down.
Yeah,
the
it's
culvert.
going over that, but it's not coming out the culvert, it's just flooding the trail.
You don't think if we extended that fencing out another 8 to 10 feet off of where it is, so there's a,
That's a couple nights extra work for them.
I love it.
Yeah.
Once they start
Overtime.
working on a spot.
Is the beaver deceiver contraption,
well,
Is it
we
still
have- we
there?
haven't needed it, so I could maybe get that back into functioning.
cause that was working pretty well.
Yeah,
So that's what that box is.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
solar powered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beaver deceiver?
well, there's a variety of those types of things, so a combination of Mark and myself. Steph and I built the box and the automated portion of it was us walking down. If you open it up during the day, they don't do anything, and so the vast majority of the drainage can get the level under control. And if you block it off, so we had essentially a sluice there, so we closed it at night. And then if there's no water flow, there's nothing to fix.
Right.
They,
And-
they hear it.
And so, and so they didn't do anything. So there was a little bit of fencing around it. The other advantage that it had is if they did block it, the material wasn't 4 feet inside the culvert, which is really difficult
To get out, yeah, and wedges.
So it was on the perimeter of it,
Okay,
so.
And then that other issues, like it froze.
okay.
The
So we couldn't get
wintertime,
it
the
up or
wintertime
down.
became more of a challenge, because when things would freeze up, then the sluice didn't necessarily close as it should, so if it's open, then the beavers would know it's open and come over and try to do something, but.
I thought they were supposed to move on after about 5
They
years.
did for
Well,
a
they
little.
did. They've
They
been-
were
they
gone.
did.
Yeah, you have.
Just
But now
back.
they're back again.
I think the grandchildren.
Yeah.
Ah!
Right.
The grandchildren have come home.
As far as the fence
Maybe
there
that
that's
spot's
there,
supposed to be
the
flooded
easiest
for a
way to
little
do
while.
that may be to just pull that one out, and I have some extra
Fancy
2x4 welded wire fence, horse fence, that we could just pull out and put a new piece in there, that would be simpler. Just to, instead of trying to clean the one that's in there.
Maybe Steph and I will go down and take a look.
I
and
don't know to what degree you can pull out what you've built there.
I know, yeah. Taking that
With
out.
a tractor you could.
What?
With a tractor you could.
Yeah, 'cause he has taken it out a couple of times.
With a
It is
tractor
like
you could pull it
A lot
out.
of
Oh,
work,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I like your idea of
backhoe.
making a larger radius, polygon of fence, because the
I've seen other areas where it seems to have worked pretty good, but.
with the bigger polygon, there's a lot more, cross-sectional area for the water to flow through, so it's gonna be harder for the beavers to recognize that as the place
Well, I
that they
think
need
part
to
of the
be.
concept of the polygon too is the beavers just instinctively go to certain areas, so they don't necessarily go to certain aspects of the polygon. I'll do a little bit more research on that. I had done some research on it.
My research is they just climb over it and go in.
I like
I've spent many days down there and I'm like, how the heck did they get that in there? And it's like, I think they just climb over. How could they not? They climb all over the place in the woods. Climbing a fence would be nothing.
Well, they gotta carry a log on their shoulder.
They
Be
do carry
surprised.
mud.
There's other beaver deceivers
Rocks.
that are horizontal. There's no fence.
The
sticking
ones
out.
that
There's some real ones that have
the
a-
ones,
like
The ones that really work are the ones that have the
Pipe.
submerged inlet.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what you want. You wanna create a submerged inlet somehow.
Well,
Well, it still
We
works
did
for
try that,
horses, it's
didn't
the
we?
hikers that don't like getting their feet wet.
There was a partial attempt
we could
at
put
doing that,
bridge.
maybe, but I think there was certain, the pond, that's not very deep in there, and I think there was.
That's the
I think the issue
Yeah.
was, there wasn't enough depth
Mm.
for that to function the way that those were intended to function.
Yeah.
So those would be fine if you had a pond that, 15, 20 feet off a shore, you had 10 feet of water. I mean, there's only three,
Not even
you could
three.
see it when it was, like
Right.
this
Yeah.
whole year, you could go down
Yeah.
there and it
It's
was
all
dry.
the way in there, yeah.
Oh, we saw a blue heron out there, it was beautiful.
yeah.
You just standing there looking wonderful.
All right, well, that definitely, will take some, attention, so I'll take a look at that again, maybe come up with a recommendation.
Before we wrap up, what date are you thinking for this next hike?
I'm need to coordinate with,
Yeah, coordinate with
like,
Tim.
like Tim, who approached me.
How about a spring walk? Anybody know where you can find Fiddlehead or Ramp or?
Well, that's kinda gone by now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I said a
Spring.
spring
Oh,
walk.
spring, okay, yeah.
You know where you can find Fiddlehead and Ramp?
The fiddlehead, yeah, the
Yeah.
ostrich fern, all
In
over
our
the
place.
darn place.
You
but
can?
The ramp,
Oh, yeah.
The kind that you can eat.
That's where you got that?
Because there are different kinds, some aren't edible.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't
I
wanna find
I
that
don't
out
know
the
one
hard
from
way.
another, but they look like fiddleheads, so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's plenty, I
Fiddleheads
think
don't
it's,
have any
I-
fuzz on them.
Ah.
I think it's the ostrich fern is the one,
I
is the
think-
fiddlehead you eat.
Yeah.
Christ, they're everywhere, I
Yeah.
mean, you got a swamp, got woods and water, there's probably gonna be 5 different kind of ferns, and one of them's gonna be the ostrich fern.
So
The
we-
ramps is another story, if anybody knows where they are, let me know.
There's some around here, they have
That's
sold
big.
that over at,
Ramps.
Stone Cow Farm.
Oh, wild ramps,
Yeah,
okay.
Huh.
we've had a lot of it down in West Virginia, but that's another story.
All right.
Anything else?
So we'll look for the date somehow,
Right,
with
right.
senior center or.
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Second, all in favor?
All righty.
Well, that point